Hi everyone. Not sure who's going to join this morning on our live. It is Labor Day and many of you are probably planning cookouts. At our home, it is a dreary, wet, rainy day, so we won't be doing a cookout. We postponed ours till tomorrow afternoon. Just wanted to share a quick craft that I'm doing. I started using our pillowcase covers last year. Or earlier this year, I forget which I started. But I got tired of having all these seasonal pillows and having to store them. They took up so much space. So I changed to pillowcase covers and made the seasonal ones that I wanted. Well, right now I've got fall out and I didn't really see a fall stencil that I wanted to put on my pillowcase. So I chose Family Where Life Begins and Love Never Ends. I love that saying. Family is very important to me, and I'm sure it's important to you as well. So if it's important to you, share down below how many children you have, if you have children, or grandchildren, or even great-grandchildren. I have 2 children, a boy and a girl. I also have 7 grandchildren, and then I have 3 great-grandchildren. So we've got a full family. They don't all live here locally with us, but you know, it is fun to be around family when we can. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to slide the camera down and show you how to use it. First thing I'm going to do is put my mat in, and you see my mat has all sorts of stuff on it. Well, I made a mistake of putting it behind a drop cloth one time trying to do something, and that didn't work. So don't try it on drop cloth material. Now I am using an older pillowcase cover. The new ones are coming out with a little bit closer weave, so they're smoother. But I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm just kind of eyeballing. I'm going to put the camera down so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just eyeballing where I've got the mat, and it goes to there. So I'm saying it's probably pretty close to centered. Let me just measure real quick. There's the edge. That's right at 8 inches. So I'm 4 inches. And this is 3.5. So I can move it up just a hair. And what I like about our mat is that it does stick to the backing that keeps it from sliding. Okay, I think I've got it in there now. It also helps keep the wrinkles out of it. Now, I'm not as good as Arlene and Peggy with the inking. I don't ink that much, but I am going to give this a shot and see how it turns out. I want to find the top of my mat and make sure that I've got it all on the mat. Let me just measure real quick. Let's see, that's 8. That's close enough to be good for me. I'm going to go ahead and get all the air bubbles out. And I have used this stencil so many times. I like using it on the 18-inch rounds. It makes a very nice display item that I put on. I set it in an easel and display it in my living room. And I'm just talking about one of those little small easels, like a picture easel. Okay, I think I've got it spread out. I'm just going to do black ink on mine. So we'll see how it goes, so it quits ringing. You know, I tell my husband that I'm doing a live and I close the door so he knows not to come in. But, you know, you can't tell everyone that wants to call you. So that happens. Let's see. I'm trying to read with it down. Barbara's on. Hi, Barbara. How are you today? You doing anything special for Labor Day? Now, Barbara, when we were at Celebration, I know you mentioned a niece. Do you have children? I don't remember if we talked about children. We talked about so many other things up there. Okay, now my ink, I have not used for a while, and I stirred it up, but I'm hoping that it's not too dried out. You know, people don't always go in and maintain their ink and their chalks the way they should. Well, ink you can't add water to, but the chalk, you need to go in every week or so and stir it up well, and then put a fine layer of water on top of it to keep it moist so it doesn't dry out. But I'm not sure about ink. If any of our fellow people have tips on the ink, let me know. No, not really. Been canning tomatoes. I bet your garden has been just beautiful this year, Barbara. I know that everything looks good when you share pictures. I cannot make a silk flower, or I can make a silk flower turn black. So I don't try to grow. My parents were excellent gardeners, but not me. So let's see, I have 3 children, 2 daughters and 1 son. That's awesome. Now, are they all out of the house or are they still at home, Barbara? You know, I love being able to chalk like this, or ink on this case, and talk at the same time and still be a quick craft. I don't know if you saw my picture I shared the other week, but we made beaded garlands at one of our ladies' gathering here at the lake. We have, about 15 women that we meet once a month. Not everyone can join every time. This time I think we only had 8 people here. But we did crafts afterwards, and everyone seemed to have a great time. In fact, one of the members have already come over and said, oh, wait a minute, I want to make another one. How do I do it? So hopefully I'm getting them started on crafting with our chalks and inks. Okay, I don't know if anyone else has joined us. I'm not real good at watching comments and doing the work at the same time. You know, the old brain has trouble thinking and doing stuff multiple times. And I'm really concerned about this ink being too dry, so hopefully this turns out okay. I know that it says we have a shelf life of 6 months, and I'm not someone to trash something easily, so this one is probably at least a year old, or close to a year old. So it may not turn out, but we'll see. If not, I'll just turn the pillowcase around the other direction and use it for something in my bedroom instead of in the living room. But I have 2 occasional chairs in the living room that's just a little bit too deep for me to sit comfortably in. So I need a smaller pillow, and I happen to have 2 pillows that I can insert into these and do it. Let's see. Hi, Beth. Thanks for joining. Happy Labor Day to you. Let's see. Barbara says, I love gardening. And sorry, but it's at an angle I can't read it. I wish I could garden. Maybe you could come down and garden for me sometime, Barbara. You know, we'll give a girls' retreat and let you garden for me. The only trouble is you'd have to stay and take care of it. Let's see what it says here. I love to plant and watch then produce, but this year it's produced so much. Yeah, I remember you talking about you had so much stuff. I had a cousin the other day, not the other day, probably the other month, give me some zucchini and squash that someone had given her, and she was going out of town. And I'm not someone to can. I did can one. Oops, I just saw it disconnected and reconnected, so I hope we didn't lose too much. But I did can a little bit. I've made pickles, I've made jellies and jams. Never put up produce, just because I never have that much produce to put up. And I ended up giving my canner away. In fact, I gave 2 canners away because I thought the first one I liked, and then I didn't like it, so I bought a different one and didn't like it. I'll tell you a cute story. My mom lived with me for the last 6 years of her life, and she was the oldest of 8 children, so she was used to calling the shots. Don't know where I get my in-control behaviors from, ha ha. But Anyway, she was in the hospital one time, and she spent quite a bit of time in the hospital. And she'd asked me, she said the signs were right. She always used the Farmer's Almanac, and I bet, Barbara, you probably used some of the Farmer's Almanac as well. But she had told me the time was right, and I needed to make something she called Hot Tom. I'm going to pull this up. I've got ink on my finger, so bear with me a minute while I try to get it off before I touch anything. But she told me the season was right to make that Hot Tom. Hot Tom is actually a green tomato relish. Well, I didn't really care for Hot Tom, but, you know, when your mama asks you to do something, or in her case, tells me to do something, you do it. So I did that and blackberry jam for her that day. And again, I don't enjoy canning. I don't enjoy either one of those items, but I did it. So after sweating in the summer, getting it all done, I got to the hospital and I told her, okay, we're going to do the peel and reveal, and I'll finish the story in just a second. Let's see how it turned out. Oh, look at the back of my stencil. What is it peeling off? Or did I have something on it maybe before? I might have had it where I painted on something before. All right, let me put this down here. And Arlene told me I always need to put the inked stencils in water while I'm talking so that it doesn't dry on there. And I'm going to pull the camera back up and show you the finished product. So I think that's going to look really great in my family room on my chair. And I'm going to let it dry for 24 hours, then I'll heat press it. I'm going to do another one, and the one I'm going to do for the other chair is begin each day with a grateful heart. I just felt those were two nice sayings that are non-seasonal that I can put on these pillows and put there. But anyway, on with my story real quick. Let's see who else is. I do especially when using my crock for sauerkraut. Oh, I'd love sauerkraut on some hot dogs for this weekend. I may have to go get me some, but it won't be homemade. Your children are all gone. Your granddaughter lives with you now. She's just graduated high school and has taken online classes. That's awesome. I don't know that I could handle having a teenage daughter in the house after all these years of being an empty nest, but, you know, I would give it a shot if it meant making a better life for my grandchildren. My grandchildren do come home from college and stuff and spend the night. But yeah, anyway, so I got to the hospital and told my mom that day that I had finished all the canning. And she says, well, where is it? And I said, what do you mean, where is it? She goes, well, I told everyone here that you were making it. So I had to go back to my house, which was about 20 minutes away, get the canned goods, and bring them back in. And she gave every last jar away. So I'm glad people at the hospital were good. They took good care of Mom. So I guess it was okay. But that's it for today. Barbara, thank you for saying it's beautiful. I like it. Let's see, anyone else join us? I've got Beth and Barbara on. Okay, well, I'm going to go for now. Thanks everyone for watching, and have a great Labor Day. Bye.